And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Real Talk with me, G. I think this is episode, gosh, what are we up to? Like 30, 32, 33? This started as like,
I feel like.
oh, 30. Yeah, I think it is. I think like you're only half evil, 666, 333, only half evil.
Of course,
that's how. Who better to represent the half evil? No, I'm kidding. Than this incredibly wonderful human that does all the things. We battle with our titles as creatives, as job descriptions. But Marcus Dowling, you are a broadcaster, you are a writer, you are a creator, a cultural curator of sorts. How are you, my love?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am equally rather wonderful. I like, it's Monday. Mondays are my favorite days because like you start the day like running and rocking and rolling, and I just feel like everything is when the sun's shining, when you've got a to-do list to do, I'm in it to win it.
Exactly.
But then again, I'm one of those overly positive people, so maybe that's just me.
There's nothing wrong with that. We need more people like you in the world. That's a good thing.
I mean, I feel like I'm talking to one of those people.
I try to be. I try very hard to be. Like that's a key part of like who I am as a person, I guess, to a lot of people. Like that I'm like, even in the face of everything, I'm like somehow exceedingly a positive person because I don't know.
Which is
like,
what we love.
Yeah, like you get a sense like sometimes if you have a really good feeling of like, okay, so it's like if you live in accordance with the rotation of the earth, like the way that like the if you live in accordance to the way that the earth moves and how things tend to occur, then you're always in balance with something. So that's something I learned eons ago. So I've been a really big practitioner of that. So like I always try to like, that's why if you follow me on all the social media at Marcus with the CK Dowling, Dowling, you'll see that like I'm always like focused on not just news and events here, but oftentimes elsewhere too, because I'm always trying to like figure out where I need to be balanced within like so many different things occurring around the world. And it impacts the way that I write, it impacts the way that I think. It's a huge thing. So yeah.
So how did you even get started in this field?
Like, oh gosh. Okay. So I've been a writer for most of my life. Like I mean most significantly, I was the editor-in-chief of my college newspaper, the Providence College Cow, Providence, Rhode Island. And I like for many years I just kind of like wrote occasionally. And in 2008, crazy enough, I was in a relationship. And it was like one of those
things. That is crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's one of those things where you're in a relationship and the person you're with, they're like, is just not panning out the way you want it to. So I ended up getting a new car. And I've always been a music fanatic. Yes, I've always been a music fanatic. And like my dad played drums for Aaron Neville and the Neville Brothers before they were the Neville Brothers. Like they went to the same high school. So like stuff like that. Like I've had music in my life like since I was a child. And I kind of like I was a DJ for a while post-college, like whole thing. And I decided because I had this new car and I was in this weird dead relationship that like I was gonna start going out. And I turned 30 in the midst of that too. So I had like this weird, like awkward midlife crisis kind of thing. And I started going to shows. I love club music, I love house music. So Baltimore is like the hotbed of that in 08. It's like 2008. Right. So I was like going out there and I saw excellent artists like MIA and Santi Gold and Amanda Blank. And that was like my re-entrance into music. And then at the same time, you have the backpack rap era. So you have the Kid Cudis of the world, the Wale's, Kanye West making that big ascension from like indie mainstream artist to like full on mainstream superstar. And I just started writing about it because it was a fascinating time of my life. And I'm like, if I don't do anything with this, minimally, I just want to chronicle this time of my life. So I just started writing these pieces and reviews of shows. And it was reviews of shows that started to get me like invited out to shows to review them. Right. Not that I was even writing for like a publication or anything. I had this blog called True Genius Requires Insanity. Because it's true.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, that's awesome. So I had this blog and I was like, I'm writing every night. I'm going to shows at this new car. So I was going as far south as Richmond, Virginia. Then I would go to shows in DC. I was born in DC, raised in DC, but I wasn't in DC all the time. It was weird. Like that didn't come until like a year and a half later. But so I was in Baltimore, and then I would go to New York, I go to Philly, I go to Boston. I would like, if say like Diplo, for instance, right? When Major Lazer started as an act, I saw Major Lazer in DC, then I saw Major Lazer in Baltimore, then I saw Major Lazer at, I want to say, Webster Hall in New York City. And then I saw them in Boston. And I would like drive back, and I would like go on the road for like 4 days because I was like heavily inspired by this music. In the midst of that, I got laid off from the job I had, and it's like it was a crazy time. And I just like fell in love with this. And I'm like, if there's any way that I could do this like remotely full time, I will. So in getting laid off from my job, I cashed in my 401k, which as a 42-year-old person now is incredibly stupid. But at the time when I was 30, it was like the smartest thing in the world, because I'm like, I'm all in on this hipster culture thing. Like I want to like embody it and breathe it and live it. And I potentially want to get a career in it. So I'm like, the only way I knew how to do it was like just to do it, just to go out to all these shows and meet people. And you know, you meet people like A-Track and stuff, and you're just getting like connections. And not that I had any idea what to do with any of this, but like it just started turning into stuff. And 12 years later, I'm here, which is crazy. Because it's just like, it's an ongoing path of just like, you wake up every day and you do the same thing and you learn how to get proficient at it. And same thing with you as a vocalist and a writer, a singer-songwriter. Like you wake up, you write it. Like when you're starting out, you wrote a song every day, right?
Oh, I still do.
To write a song, right? So it's the same thing. Like I wrote every day for like 700 straight days. Like I got up and I made a blog post about a show, or I reviewed an album or whatever. And I would start emailing publications like Vice and Mishka. Mishka started me off. Like they paid me in t-shirts. Because you know how like party photography was a thing. So it'll be like, Marcus, you go to all these parties. Do you want some t-shirts? And we'll post your stuff on our blog. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be dope. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I started to notice like my 401k, like the money was dwindling. And I'm like, all right, it turns into a career. So I did. And I started like writing for places like Washington City Paper and Vice and Complex. They had a EDM vertical called Do Androids Dance. Insomniac. They do Electric Daisy Carnival. So I wrote for them. Brightest Young Things in DC. So I was just like, started to expand, and then it really became a career. And then I stepped out for a second and ran a recording studio. Listed in DC. I started their online radio station mainly because they needed a secondary source of income. Because it's like, it was funny. I was covering all these underground producers making tracks in their basements and making tracks in their bedrooms. And I walked into the studio one day, DJ Boom, Jeremy Beaver. He's the owner. I was the executive director, whatever these titles mean. I don't know.
Jeremy Weaver at WLVS now?
Yeah, WLVS.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm like, hey, so a lot of these producers that are making dope tracks aren't like recording them in studios. We need to do something with the studio in order to like really like, because I'm always like a step ahead. So I'm like, I don't know if like recording studio is going to be like a thing even in like 12 months. I have no idea. I freaked out one day, and he's like, well, I want to do a radio station. I'm like, yes, let's do a radio station. And so we ran a online streaming radio station that still exists, WLVS. Started in 2012.
Hold up, you started that?
Yeah, it's my baby.
Okay,
because I Jeremy Beaver, DJ Boom, and I. That's our child. It's a child I did not want to have.
They are such a great like that station has my back. Like
yeah, Boom's a great guy. Like
I love it.
I have a whole different level of respect for him than I have for most people who work in the music industry. Just to be able to like maintain in a business like that, as the music industry has done so much shifting and reshaping. Let's see. So from there, it's like I just kept going. Like it's always been the story. Like I'm relentless about it because I really like music a lot. Like some people are like, I like music. I'm like, well, did you turn it into like an industry for yourself and like actually wake up every day and have to like write about it? On top of that, I have a degree in political science. I minored in public and community service. So the writing thing and the politics thing blends really well. And then when you blend like politics and music, and then you blend like, and also I'm Black. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm Black. My
At
God,
the front door.
right?
What?
Astounding.
Insanity.
So you blend like race, politics, and music, and then it's like the last 5 years of my life have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's been a whole journey, and now I'm here, and I am the senior, I guess, director of blogging for DJ City. I freelance routinely. I just had a piece go live at the Boot about country music. I've been trying to write about country for 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah, no. My mom took me on vacations to a trailer park when I was a kid.
Okay.
Like I grew up in far northeast DC. I grew up in Deanwood, but my mom took me and a friend of mine to Walt Disney World one time, and the car broke down on the way back. And from that point forward, she's like, long distance vacations just aren't going to be a thing in this family. And instead, she's like, we're going to go to places that are like A, cheaper, and B, closer. So my aunt, she won 2 double wide trailers on The Price is Right in the mid 1970s. And true story. And she like put them in a trailer park in Falling Waters, West Virginia. And she would then like rent them out to family members for vacations for like 2 weeks at a time. So when I was a kid, I would go to these trailer parks. I would go to this trailer park, and the family across the street or the road, whatever, they had a double wide, and they had 2 double wides that they put together. So they had like a straight walk through like double wide with like, like you put the aluminum siding on it, so it looks like a house. They had that. And I would go in with my friend, whatever friend was coming with me, because like I would take a friend of mine from school, and we would we would watch the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday nights. So like twice during the summer, I would watch the Grand Ole Opry. So I fell in love with country music because I was like, this is so cool. Like this is a whole different alien culture. The music is not terrible, but I was like, this is fascinating to me. So when I started writing about music, I always knew that like there was a space for me to do country because I grew up with it. And I'm like, I really want to do it. Like, I know I can. So I've been trying off and on for like 12 years to like pursue country as a journalistic, endeavor. And
congratulations.
Yeah. And so I finally have something up there. So I'm doing that. It's big. It's a big victory. Medium, I'm a writer there. I've been a staffer at Medium. Gosh, off and on now for like 5 years. So it's exciting. Like it's weird because the world shut down for a global pandemic, and you would think it's a global pandemic. So therefore, as a journalist, a lot of my journalistic friends don't have jobs right now, and it's very sad. It's frustrating. It's terrifying. I feel for them. But the thing is, for me, is that I've been writing for so long in so many different disciplines that like when the pandemic hit, the first thing I did was I like hit up all my editors and I'm like, so what do you need from me? I have a lot of time on my hands and I've been a freelancer for you all along. So I know that the way that we're going to be doing business is going to change, but I'm literally here, like as I've always been. So like, and I just reiterated that to all my editors and they're like, oh my God, that's right. You're used to this, like working from home. You've worked from home for 12 years. So yeah, of course, whatever you want to do, like, let us know. Like, hell, we're just all sitting at home now. So it's been fascinating. Like, and
that's amazing.
I like to say that I'm busier now than I was in like 2013 when I was running a recording studio and pursuing freelance journalism simultaneously. So it's been amazing.
Incredible, man. That's insane.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
No, by all means, like ask away. We have time. So yeah, let's do it.
So first of all, Falling Waters. Have you seen Frank Lloyd Wright's house?
Yes, of course I have, because it's in Falling Waters.
I know. So I'm like, as soon as you said that, I was like, wait a minute, I'm so jealous right now.
Yeah, of course. It was like it's like the only thing to go see in town. So like you go to see it, like you take a day, you go into town. And it's like there's like Falling Waters and Kaiser and a bunch of these other, and then there's like, you go further out and you get to what is it? What's the name of that place? John Brown is from there. It's Charlestown, yes. So you go to Charlestown as well. And so no, I've been there for sure.
Okay, awesome. The Grand Ole Opry, amazing. I went there once when I was in Nashville.
I went to Nashville last year, and it was like, and it's funny because I'd never been. So, and I've wanted to do this country thing for the longest time. I've never been. It's okay. What? I've been busy doing other stuff, clearly. It's okay. Like, it's funny. Like, I made my little entree in the country slightly last year, and I went to Nashville, and I also went to Denver, Colorado.
Okay, I love Denver,
Colorado is the home of Rockmount Ranchwear, which is like the #1 like country shirt maker in like the world.
Yeah.
And I now own many Rockmount shirts from Rockmount. Of course. Like, I like saved up and like went, and I'll never forget going in. This is like a funny anecdotal story. I go in, and I've wanted to go to this place for like, I'm 42. I've wanted to go to this place for 35 years.
Oh, okay.
Like, I've known about it since I was a kid. And I'm like, I walk in, and of course, like, I'm a Black person in country. It's, it's a thing I'm used to, but people still look at you funny, like, okay. And they think it's Yeehaw Agenda, Lil Nas X, whatever. And I sit there, and then they look down at my boots, and they're like, and I wear country boots, like, I wear cowboy boots all the time. It's a thing that I've been doing for like 2 or 3 years.
I have noticed that, yes.
Yeah, I'll get to that in half a second, because there's a reason why I do that. But I come in, and they're like, okay, so what are you looking for? And they're thinking it's going to be like, I want like the swaggiest country shirt ever, because blah, blah, blah. I think it's going to be like this traditional, stereotypical Black answer. But I'm like, no, I understand that, like, and I named like 5 artists, and they're like, oh, and then I named like 3 movies that the shirts were sourced from Rockmount. And I'm like, what's the name of it? Urban Cowboy with John Travolta. I mentioned that, and they're like, right. Yes, we did provide the shirts for Urban Cowboy. I'm like, I know. And they're like, and they gave me a tour of the store. And then they're like, oh, so like, you really want to see like our shirts? I'm like, yes, I do. Like, I'm actually here for like a very real reason. And so they like take me around, and I try on some shirts, and I end up leaving with 2 shirts, and I ordered some shirts during the pandemic, and they were like so glad to like hear from me again and whatever. So it's pretty cool. So no, I did that. I like started my little entree last year, but no. So getting the cowboy boots, I did a piece for a site called Bitter Southerner. It's an amazing website. If people aren't aware, they kind of like do a modernist take on the country aesthetic. So it's not like, rednecks and Skoal and NASCAR. It's also like progressivism and modern thought and attempting to, like find a better way. And very, very much baked in their thing is anti-racism. So I did a piece about being from DC, and my mom passed away last March. And after she passed away, I got motivated to do like everything in life that I ever wanted to do. I like said I'm going to do it that year, which is crazy. I flew 20,000 miles last year, like all across the country, doing all the stuff I wanted to do. So I saw places and did things that I never thought I would do. Like, I swam in the Atlantic Ocean because I never swam in the Atlantic Ocean. So I went to Tampa, and I jumped into the Atlantic Ocean, and I swam in the Atlantic, and it was a thing that I did. Other crazy things. I went to Denver. I went to Las Vegas for the AVN convention. It's just anything that I could think of I wanted to do, I did. So one of the things was I wore country boots like when I started writing. Like, funnily enough, when I started writing, I went to my first hipster rave with alligator boots on. Real story. So this is not a new thing. But like I started to feel like I was an outlaw because I was walking around DC one day, and I realized that like there are very few Black people in DC, which is the thing, that people talk about all the time. So I was like, I'm gonna bring attention to this in a way that like I can, because I want to bring unique attention to this situation. So I started wearing cowboy boots daily. And then one day I was walking down U Street, and this guy comes up on me. And you know how Bailiwick has those T-shirts that say the district in Cyrillic letters? And it was this white guy. It was like the whitest guy that ever lived. Like not to cast aspersive stereotypes of white people, but you know the guy.
Yeah, I know the guy.
Graduated from Penn State and lives on U Street, and is very clearly has come out of Compass Coffee, and not the cast personal Compass Coffee, but it's a place, and people that live in DC who have come to the city tend to go there for coffee. So they have delicious coffee, by the way. I enjoy their mint nitro cold brew. It's very nice. So anyway, I see this person, and he looks at me, and I'm walking down the street listening to Chris Christopherson wearing my cowboy boots.
Oh my God.
And this guy comes up to me, and I pull my little earbuds out, and he's like, looks at me, goes, "Yo, man, you're wearing the fuck out of those cowboy boots. I don't know why, but man, that's crazy." And I'm like, "Why is it crazy?" He's like, "You know." And I'm like, "I don't." And he's like, "Yeah, you do." And he kept on.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
okay.
So I wrote a piece about wearing cowboy boots because I'm like, okay. So like I've got people thinking about this, and I'm like, and the reason why I'm doing it is because I'm like, I feel like I'm an outlaw. And the moments like that occurred all the time to me all the time, even before I was wearing boots, but now they happen even more. And then people ask me, "Why are you wearing the boots?" And I'm like, well, I feel like I'm an outlaw here. How do you feel like you're an outlaw? Because you're in boots? No, because I'm black. And then it's like,
the awkward turtle arrives.
Yeah, then it's like, oh, awkward turtle in the room, hi. And then it's a conversation, because it's a conversation starter that I'm wearing on my feet. So people have to then stop and have this really terrifying conversation. Because the first thing is, I moved here for work.
Right.
That's what people will say to me. The first thing, I moved here for work. And I'm like, that's great. So did you notice anything that's changed drastically since you've been here? Yeah, that thing we were talking about. Right, exactly. So what do you do to like help that situation? Do you like, support Black-owned businesses in DC? Like, do you like meet a Black neighbor and like talk to them about DC or learn something, or like, just generally be supportive and not be an asshole? I think so.
Oh my
God.
God.
I'm like, okay, so if you think so, then are you doing this now? Like moving forward, is this a part of your life that you're going to like actively take like, control of now that you've met me and you asked me about my boots and I told you I feel like an outlaw and I feel awkward and I'm a native Washingtonian and I'm not like the traditional native Washingtonian that you're expecting to see? Like, is that going to help? And then you get like I think so. I think so. And that awkward, like, this is a whole bunch of stuff that I never expected to have happen. I mean, and I wear them in weird places. Like, I wear them with suits. Like, you ever see, like, and you're from New Zealand, so I know you have. You've seen those, like, 80s TV shows, so, like, Dallas, right? Or, like, Dynasty, where, like, the white guy walks in the room with, like, the suit with the cowboy boots on. I've brought that back. That's the thing. So if I have to like, and I'm working, it's funny. So like things I'm doing also, I forgot to mention one that's actually super important. During quarantine, I'm contracted by the DC Public Library to help them put together and curate their go-go exhibition that they're putting into the renovated downtown Martin Luther King Library.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's the most amazing thing. So it's a fun time. Like, sometimes like before I started this project before quarantine. So I would go into meetings in downtown DC wearing like a shirt and tie, suit, and cowboy boots, looking like J.R. Ewing from Dallas. Did not care one iota.
This is it. I love it.
No, that's a thing. So yeah, that's my life. Like I write a lot of stuff and then I do things that are intentionally awkward and off-putting, so that people force people to think.
I think this is why I wanted to be your friend.
I mean, we are friends. That's the whole point. That's why we're friends. Because I respect what you do. I feel like in a same way, it's like the thing that makes you important to like how we do things in DC. When you have me on, I'm like, I have to tell you this. It's the
Hit me.
it's the fact that you like assault people with kindness in a way that is not off-putting, that doesn't make you feel weird. And that's an important thing.
I'll take it.
And that's an important thing, because most people that do kindness do it as this like performative gesture of like, I'm being kind to you.
Oh,
hello,
yeah.
I'm a nice person. And you're just like, yo, I'm nice. Give me a hug. And it's like, yeah, of course. You're a nice person. You're not a jerk. And that opens the conversation. So at that point, it's like, well, why are you being so kind? Well, I'm a singer-songwriter. At that point, you've already made your career exciting. Because it's like, oh, this person is not a jerk. And they are assaulting me with kindness. 2 for 2. Like, yes, great. Awesome, Emma. It's a pleasure to meet you. I want to know what you are doing with your career, because you are nice and not a jerk. And oh my God, on top of that, you're actually talented. So then it's like, whoa, because even crazier, because you do street performance, which is a thing. And I'd imagine that quarantine for you has been hellacious, but still you succeed, which is amazing. But when we were not quarantined, you did street performance.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that takes a lot. Okay, so it takes a lot to be a memorable street performer.
I don't know, does it?
It does.
I just go out and I'm like, hey.
Can do it. Busking is the most simplistic form of live performance there is.
It's true. It's true.
Like, almost anybody can do it.
It's true.
But there are very few people who are memorable street performers. Memorable. Like,
I'll take
like, think about it. Like, in all reality, like, you as a street performer, how many other street performers do you know that you sit down and think of and go, that person is notable and memorable?
I choose not to answer this. I'm going to exercise my Fifth Amendment.
I know, but I'm saying there's a reason why. Because there's not a lot of you that are like, oh God, like Naked Cowboy has to be naked in Times Square in order to be memorable.
I have never laughed so hard at receiving a compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's true. It's you and the DuPont. It's you and the DuPont brass band. I mean,
they're dope.
You, Malik, the dope drummer, and the DuPont brass band. Those are the three that, like, anybody asks me anywhere. Like, because, you have, like, I'll be at these conferences and people talk about, like, sustainable live performance. What's good? And I'm like, yo, I'm in DC with 3 of the best in the world. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, we do. And they're like, are they just, like, students who play music? I'm like, no, they're, like, actual real musicians who make careers out of playing music on the streets. And they're like, that's impossible. And then I'll pull up your YouTube and I'll be like, you see this? She's a real person. Her name is Emma. She's great. She'll give you a hug. She sings. It's wonderful.
Oh, the hug. It's been the weirdest thing.
Same thing with Malik. I'm like, Malik was on America's Just Got Talent. And they're like, for doing what? The same stuff he does on the streets for money. And they're like, really? I'm like, what? Yes. And they're like, it's not a put on like Naked Cowboy. I'm like, no, nobody's in their underwear and cowboy boots and a goofy hat. No. Who knew?
I think that's the thing about, like, when I first moved to DC. So you talked about going on your long road trips as a child, and your mom's pulling the plug and be like, nope, no more long road trips. I tell you, I was in a long road trip from Connecticut to Indiana when our car broke down, and that's how I found DC. That is how I found DC. And I don't know if you believe in a spiritual power or a higher power or whatever.
I do.
But I solemnly swear that was God, that was universe telling me you need to be in DC, and it's the best fucking move I ever made.
It suits you. DC suits you. Like,
thank you.
There's an energy. There's a way that people move in DC that people don't move anywhere else.
True. It is true.
So DC's got the little brother syndrome, like horribly, horribly, where we are every other major American city's little brother. For years, DC was only known as the center of the government.
Mm-hmm.
And music especially. So music has the little brother syndrome worse than anything else in the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. So like every other city, every other municipality nationwide had a
Mm-hmm.
mainstream musical opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But DC, because it's the place where the government runs, nobody ever thought to stop and say, oh, what are they doing in DC? And is it noteworthy and worthwhile? The only time was jazz. And even then, we were better known for our venues than our talent actually being from here. Like Duke Ellington's known worldwide.
Yeah.
Where is he from?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's from DC. Oh my God, really? He had to be from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
He's from DC. And it's like, whoa, that's crazy. But no, so like every other city had an opportunity. And DC was like, because DC was always the center of government, and DC had venues, and DC had crowds, but you never really had artists. So it's a fascinating thing. Like, we move different because we always feel like we have to do like 10 times more. So like every DC artist has some kind of extra, successful DC artist has some kind of extra gear. So, yeah. I mean, we were just talking about Malik. So like Malik, you know Malik.
I do know Malik. He's wonderful.
Extra gear. You know the DuPont Brass Band. And all those guys have an extra gear that most people who make music literally do not know how to have. Like, it's just like a foreign concept. Like, oh, I have to hustle that hard?
Yeah.
And you have that same gear.
Thank you.
So it works. You being here makes all the sense. If you literally never spoke, people would just presume you were from here.
I mean,
but then when you speak, it's like, oh, okay, she's clearly, obviously, somewhere else. But no, like, you have that extra gear that we all have here. So that's why you fit here, and that's why I guess you were supposed to be here in the first place.
I totally agree with you, and I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So when it's amazing to me how many wonderful and dope and epic and beautiful human beings that I've managed to meet since living here, and of course yourself being one of them, who also has, I think, 5 extra gears. Let's be real.
You know, people say that, and I like to tell them they're lying, but at some point you just have to accept it as the truth.
You have to like just listen to the narrative, you know. It's like, you know, you can tell people, the argument is you can tell people who you are all you like.
Right.
The reality is you are what people think you are.
Exactly. So, I mean, I've just come to accept it, and I'm like, all right, fine.
You're like, I'm a king. Here I am. What's up?
Okay, cool. Like, it was funny. I had a friend of mine tell me, like, maybe November of last year. So, God, it's like I can announce this because it's coming and I'm excited about it. I'm doing a piece about the 20th anniversary I'm doing a 20th anniversary retrospective of Jill Scott's debut album.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, for
I woke up with her songs in my head the other morning, like, and you're the 3rd person to bring her up this week.
So in the midst of doing this, I've interviewed Jill Scott for like a combined total of like an hour and a half. So it's a funny story. The pitch came to me when they announced that she was going on tour, and she played, and I went to the show. She played the Maryland Live Casino on Valentine's Day night.
Okay.
And she played that whole album front to back on Valentine's Day night. I went by myself, by the way. So that lets you know that how important the story was. On Valentine's Day night, I went by myself because I'm a serious journalist and did not go with the date. Because I'm a serious journalist. Boom.
Yes.
So anyway, so like in the midst of making that pitch, it was funny. Like, this person I was talking to about like how much I wanted to make the pitch. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've done these retrospectives before and they're very lengthy and meaty. And I'm like, I don't know, like if Jill's gonna even be able to be spoken to, and I don't know how to like do the research. And so many of her producers are like known ascetics now. Like, you don't even see these people in public. They don't exist in 2 places at the same time. I'm like, this is gonna be a lot of work. Should I even pitch it? And my friend said to me, you're a journalist. And you're not just like a journalist, but you're like the most motivated journalist I know. So like, you have to do this. And I'm like, huh, I have to. She's like, yeah, you have to, because all that work that you were talking about that's like required to make this piece work, I know you could do it. Like you, that's what you do. Like a piece like that requires like 8 interviews. And it's funny, this piece I'm working on about Trax Records and the history of house music right now, like it required like 12 interviews. It just did. And it didn't bother me. I wasn't like, ugh. I was like, okay. Right. So like doing the Jill piece, I did like 8 interviews. I talked to Jill for 90 minutes. Like it's crazy. She said she wanted to bite my cheeks when she meets me in person. And I'm like, and then I met her in person. I met her in person on Valentine's Day night.
Did she bite your cheeks?
Yeah, she bit my cheeks. She gave me a hug. She gave me a hug. And I've not recovered. So like the amount of positive energy and force in that hug. And she smelled like lavender and chamomile. And I was like, yo, Jill Scott is real. Like anything people say about her is real. Like there's a real human that exists in the world. So anyway, so I say all that to say that, yeah, I might have 5 extra gears, but there's a reason why. And like, you know, you may have 4. And there's a reason why. Because people like us, we're supposed to do that work. Like there's work. I tell the kids I mentor this. I also mentor young writers on top of all the other things I do, which is like insane. The kids I mentor are always surprised that like I make time to like help them out and talk to them about their careers or whatnot. But I'm like, the work that you're supposed to do exists in the world to be done. Like you just have to like learn how to get to that point to do it. And then it's there. It's all there. Like that's the crazy part. Like, because you think about it, it's a pandemic right now. And this is proof to the point that I just made. It's a pandemic. The world literally shut down for 106 days. We have been quarantined for 106 days. And yet I'm still busy. Why? Because the work exists for me to do. Because of the time and effort that I put in to match the gears that I have available that other people don't have available. So it's like, as much as I feel like frustrated for other writers and this and this and this, I'm like, well, this is just the dumb luck of the universe has stated that this is my time. The most heartbreaking thing in the world to me is the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement. Because when it surged in 2014 and 2015, I had my first career like boom. Because like I really understand the movement.
Of course.
And it's like, because I'm of a certain age and the work that I do, I typically end up writing stuff for people half my age. I'm 42, but I write about stuff that 21-year-olds care about all the time.
Of course.
So, and so I'm old and I know the history and I've lived it, but at the same time, I have to like transpose it to young people. So like BLM pops off. Like the morning I have a piece coming for Matty Safer, who is a guitarist in the Rapture. He is now he now has a site called Cell Vision, and I've done some work for him in the past. I have a piece coming for Cell Vision about like, you know, like listening to You Got Me by the Roots during the pandemic and how that song feels different because of the colors. Funnily enough, Jill Scott comes up again. The colors in Jill's voice and the colors in Erica's voice and the way that it plays against the way that that song is composed. And I woke up, true story. So like the room I'm in right now is my bedroom. You're in my bedroom. This is my creative space. Oh, it's also my office.
You're in mine, so there we go.
Yeah, so my bed is right here. That's the mirror above my bed. That window right there is the window. That window right there is the window that I look out of every morning. So the morning of May 29th, the morning after the night riots in Minneapolis, when they burned the 3rd precinct, I woke up and I left the TV on for the night before because I knew that there were like riots happening. And I'm like, I want to be, you know, like I'm a journalist, so I need to at least know like kind of what's going on. Like, all right, okay, this is going to be tough. Like, this is bad. And then I woke up and the entire screen is orange. because they're showing the 3rd precinct burning.
Right.
So the entire screen, like this 36-inch TV screen, is all orange.
Right.
My alarm goes off. It's "You Got Me" by The Roots, because it played during the Versus that, you know, Jill and Erica did. So I've been listening to that song. And "You Got Me" is playing. My TV screen is orange. That window right there, because it's sunrise, is also orange. The window that's in front of me right now is orange as well. This light that I'm looking at right here is on as well. So, and there are artificial sunflowers to the left of that. So, left to right are varying shades of yellow and orange. Like my entire room is glowing orange. And at that moment, I'm like, I don't have the emotional capability to do this lift of writing that I know that I'm going to have to do. Because this Black Lives Matter thing has started again. And it's going to require actual journalism, because it's going to be worse because Trump's president, and he wasn't president when we did this the last time. We had, you know, we still had Barack, and you know, we had leadership that was commensurate to the nature of the cause. So we had somebody who was up to the challenge of guiding our country through this. And I'm like, okay, the guy in his office now, he's not going to do that. And I'm like, all right, so this is going to like require like epic words. So I did this piece for Medium, and 25,000 people have read it. This month alone, 25,000 people have read it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, like it's like, and I didn't go out thinking, but it's like the thing where when you have those extra gears and you know the work that's required, and you've put in the time and effort and energy. Like I said, I've been doing this. Like I partied for 700 straight days, for not because I like partying, but because I love the culture. And I love to write about it. And I love to like experience it. You know, like when Black Lives Matter happened the first time, I had 3 pieces that did 50,000 views total, and like spurred like most of my career. Like you know Molly, so you know One Love Massive. Like I ended up getting picked up by One Love Massive. And I ran One Love Massive for 2 years as a site.
That's awesome.
And did a lot of the work with like, you know, behind the scenes, like helping them to like evolve what that's become now as Heartcast Media. So it's a thing. It's like, all right, like this is going to happen again. And the work is going to be like 10 times harder.
Of course.
And I'm already like 85, 90 days into quarantine. So I'm like exhausted. I'm like, this is, and it's a different, you know, this is a different level of exhaustion. Yes. Like your body's just like, your body you wake up some days and it's like, oh yeah, so like 9,000 people have the coronavirus in one state. Like, how?
Yeah.
Like I woke up to that number in Florida yesterday, 2 days ago, and I'm like, how? How do 9,000 people have a virus that we've told them how to stop? But 9,000 people have it. This is crazy. Like, you know, it's like, oh my God, so you're tired. By 6:05, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and it's like, oh, my entire room is orange.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, these words are going to happen somehow. And then I started just writing. And now it's weird because it's like those 5 gears that you were talking about, I'm like maxed out. So I'll give you a sense. This month I would have written 20 pieces in 30 days. Most of them about Black people and directly, indirectly dealing with BLM.
Yeah.
Which is bananas. So like the piece for the boot is about increasing African-American representation in country music.
Nice.
Yeah. So like every piece is like, Marcus, because everybody remembers from last time BLM happened. Marcus, we want you to write about this, and you can do it. And people tell me, that's the wild part now. Like, I don't have to empower myself.
Right.
Not that I needed to, but I'm tired. So it's nice to be able to like wake up and say, I'm going to do this. No.
Oh, I can do this.
People tell me, they're like, Marcus, you can do this. And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, okay, cool, yeah. Cool. Thank you. Like, it's crazy. Like, so I did the piece I have 3 pieces coming for the boot. This is the first of 3. And it was pitched to me as 1. And then we worked it out into 3. And then I'm in the midst of writing it. And my editor to be at the boot, Angela Zimmer, Angel's lovely. And she's like, Marcus, you understand that like there are like 0 Black people who really work as a writer in country. And I'm like, yes, I know that. That's why I'm doing this. And she's like, I just wanted to let you know that I'm proud of you and you can do this. And I'm like, okay, wow, like I don't have to motivate myself to do this. And it's hard, but like, okay. And this Chicago piece, even, it's crazy. So speak about like these 5 gears. Like, people know how much work I'm putting into this. And so like legendary house DJs, like Marshall Jefferson, who created Move Your Body, the house music anthem. I'm talking to Marshall Jefferson on the phone. He has called me from Manchester, England, via WhatsApp at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's, God knows, 10 p.m. his time. He's like, you know, you have to do this. This man has been interviewed. He created the house music anthem in 1986. He has been interviewed about house music like for 34 years.
Oh my God.
This man has been doing this for 34 years. And he's like, Marcus, you have to do this.
Let's be real for a minute.
Yeah, and he's like, Marcus, you have to do this. And he's been interviewed about this probably 1 million times. But he's like, Marcus, you specifically have to do this. And I'm like, well, hell, okay, sir, who invented the genre that I'm writing about. Like, the very first ever piano house song is Move Your Body. Nobody ever thought to put a piano on a house song until he made Move Your Body. And I'm like, oh, well, hell, I have to do it. So it's fascinating. You talk about those 5 gears because it's like, they're like maxed out right now. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like a piston engine.
I feel you.
But I love it.
You. And
like I could be real depressed in quarantine, but I can't be.
Yeah. No, totally. My question is like, how beyond the, because we've all even though the piston has burnt out, the fuel is running out of oxygen. Fun fact, I studied automotive for 4.5 years. I almost became a mechanic. That was a weird analogy that you just used. I don't know where that came from, but okay, whatever.
I love it. We're here. We're having a conversation. It's great.
Right. So how do you 2 things. How do you refuel and re-energize when you're feeling burnt out and depressed? And like,
God, you're gonna laugh when I tell you how I refuel, because
I want to know. Do you put your boots on? Is that what happens?
No.
Okay.
I am a semi-competitive half marathoner.
Oh, of course you are. Of course. I mean, I never said I don't run, but I.
So I go for these like epically long runs. I am currently in training to run a marathon length of distance by the end of the summer. I'm going to run 26
from where
miles.
To where?
I live in Spring Valley, so I'm going to run from Spring Valley to Bethesda, from Bethesda down, and then probably down around into the city a little bit.
Okay.
Because okay, so this all started because again, I'm like, all right, I'm doing as my aunt says, you're doing Lord's work. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm doing Lord's work. That's wild. But I'm not super religious. I'm spiritual, but I'm like, oh, well, all right. That puts a whole other level of importance on what I'm doing, I guess. It's like, you're doing Lord's work. So if you're doing this kind of work, then I need some way to like have enough time to like really let it all settle in. Because I never think about what I'm doing. And somebody told me, Marcus, you need to think about this. Like when I was explaining to someone the stuff that I'm working on right now, and like the nature and notion of what was happening in the time, they're like, Marcus, think about what you're doing right now every day. So I'm like, okay, I will, sure. And it's funnily enough, I have one of my writing side gigs is I review products for Tom's Guide. So I asked Tom's Guide for watches and fitness equipment to review so that it would motivate me to have to write and to have to run because I have to review these watches and stuff. So they're like, Marcus, sure. Like, we get these all the time. Do you want a Garmin watch to just run around with? And I'm like, yes, actually, because I need one. And so I've these watches that I've been running. So I'm now up
That's
to like,
amazing.
I'm now up to like an average, say, of like 30 or 40 miles a week. So
Jesus.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's what I do. So I'll work really hard, and then I'll go for a long run, and then I
Okay.
come back, and then it's like I work really, really hard, and then I go out for a long run, and then I come back, and then I go to sleep. Surprise, surprise. People think that I don't sleep, but I do. I sleep like 6 to 8 hours a night. So the best part about quarantine is that my office is 2 feet away from my bed. I just measured it 2 feet, you know. So it's like 2 feet away. So
Easy.
being able to get good sleep while working at the amount that I'm working.
Yeah.
I can. It's not like I have to it's not like I have to catch a bus and go down, and it's like, no, it's very convenient. So it's been good.
Valid.
Yeah.
So how do you, when you, and I'm hoping that your answer is different. When you achieve, when you unlock your achievement, and you've you hit 25,000 freaking readers on one of your articles,
which is
totally nuts. Amazing. How do you celebrate yourself? And please don't tell me you go for a run.
No. Oh God.
Okay.
The key to my my celebration is Popeye's fried chicken.
I've never had it.
So
I've never had it.
Okay, you have to. You have to. Now you have to. I don't know if you're like vegetarian or whatever. But
I am.
You have to have Popeyes. You should. Like, you should have by now. This is sad. This is egregious. But it's like, this is the first time anybody's asked me this question, so I'm glad you have, because most people ask me like, what is the most gratifying thing you've done? And they ever ask like, how do you celebrate it? So this week at some point, because I've been busy. Like I every time it slows down, it picks up again.
Of course.
So I haven't had the chance to do it, but I'm going to the Popeyes on Wisconsin Avenue. And I am going to get I get the spicy chicken tenders, the infamous Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I usually get like the spicy fries.
Okay.
And I will also get the red beans and rice, which is like 4 trillion calories. But I run a lot, so my metabolism is super high. So anybody has a question about it, whatever. My metabolism is crazy, insanely stupid, super high. So I could do it. I myself.
Yes, you can.
Most people can't. Well, you shouldn't. Like, that much fried food is not a good look. Like, if you're trying to be a healthy person, no, it's just not a good idea. But I'll do it like once in a blue moon. When I moved out here, that was my light. That's good. Just knocked my own light out here. Come on now. There we go. Come on now. There we go. Really? Okay, now you can
there we go. Yay!
So anyway, I just hit my desk. But anyway, so in any event, I will, like, I'll eat all of that, and I'll say this: when I moved out here, that's the last time I went, because I moved further out from the city, because I'm like, not that I predicted coronavirus in any way, but like, I'm like, I need to be further away from everything that's happening, because it's like, it's a cause and effect thing. So like, putting a lot, like, another thing that I do, there's a party called Adobo. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's an Afro-Latino dance party that celebrates like the culture, the music, the food, past, present, and future. So it's the only party where you'll hear like Hector Lavoe and Bad Bunny in the same party.
Right.
You'll hear Chuck Brown, and you'll hear UCB. You'll hear like the whole like diaspora of Black and brown music, for lack of a better term. So it's one of those things where I was at Adobo one night, and it's a packed room. We were at Big Chief. It was RIP Big Chief. It was still open. And like, we had the main floor, and we had the upstairs, and we had people going up and down the stairs. So it's just this room full of like Black and brown kids in the middle of Ivy City in 2019. And I'm like, okay, like this is a thing that should not be, because we've gentrified this part of the city and effectively told Black and brown people they should not be here. But for 4 hours, there's like literally wall to wall, like from the windows to the walls, like it's sweating, like the walls are sweating, like people are everywhere. It's teeming with Black and brown people. And I'm like, okay. So it was at this moment I went, between that and then like Moombahton and doing a whole bunch of other stuff at LVS and all the things we've talked about that I've had a hand in, I'm like, I've done a lot. And I've created a lot, and I've helped create a lot, and I've taken part in a lot. And I'm like, here's a point where I could step back and get as far away from it as humanly possible and watch what happens. Because it's all been created now. Like,
yeah,
it's fascinating because COVID happened. And it's like, the terror. But for a time, I always like to say I moved out here in late February, early March. So from March 1st to the 13th, I had this beautiful moment in life where I could sit back from like far, far away. Like I live as far away from this. I'm still in DC, but I live as far away from downtown DC as I humanly possibly can, without being in Bethesda or Rockville or whatever. But I could look at the whole totality of Washington, D.C. and things that I've had a hand in, things that I've seen, people I've helped, people that have started their own thing that inspire me. And I'm like, I can finally take a step back because I've been pushing it for 12 years. And I can look at the whole thing. And I can see what is happening. And and it's like watching a snow globe. Like you shake up a snow globe. I was telling someone this recently. It's like shake up a snow globe, and it's sitting there and watching it. And you see all of the stuff that you never saw. Because I'm like thinking, I'm like, all right, so I'll get away from it and I'll have perspective. Then I'm like, I'm stuck in DC. I can't leave here. Like I'm born and raised here. I'm a native Washingtonian. And that means a lot to me now. I live where I live because I'm like the only Black person here for like 6 blocks. Like it's a thing. It's like very much a thing. Like I'm a native Washingtonian and I want to be in places that I'm not supposed to be. But that because I'm a native Washingtonian, have every right to be here. And for multiple reasons, I have every right to be here. So I'm like, I'm going to step all the way back and I'm going to shake up the snow globe and I'm going to watch. And I'm going to look and I'm going to see where the blind spots are. Where are the spaces where maybe the snow doesn't fall? And maybe culture isn't as progressed as it needs to be. Maybe there needs to be something that happens here and here and here and here. Or maybe I need to go here into that room and do something. And that's what I did. It was great. It was like the best 13 days ever. Because I looked at the whole city and I'm like, oh. So I need to really double down on that library thing because that's a great opportunity. And that's a space that what we're creating there will resonate for generations. And then maybe I need to with Adobo, we need to put it here. Because we need to pull people and put them right here in the middle of this spot. Because it's like, okay, the snow doesn't fall there. So let's put some stuff there. And then maybe I need to call somebody and say, okay, maybe that's not my place to do something, but I know some younger people, because kids that are half my age, I always say, 42, 21-year-olds, they do all sorts of stuff. They use TikTok and, they disrupt entire presidential campaigns. I'm like stuff that I could never imagine doing, but they do it routinely. And it's like, okay, so maybe I'll call them. Maybe I'll get these kids in here or I'll do this there. And that'll be cool. And it was 13 days. And then COVID happened. And now, with COVID happening, I get to call these kids and say, well, they all call me rather. And they go, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, we can do whatever we want. Because I'm like, think about it. 90% of the venues might close. Which is crazy, but true. Then it's 75% of the restaurants might close. True. You don't want it to happen, but it's true. So it's okay, in the midst of all of that, we just had a Adobo group meeting, which is wild. It's fresh in my head. I'm like, in the midst of all of that, what can we do to take full advantage of this situation where we can do anything we wanted? The very thing that we bitched, whined, moaned, and complained about. Oh my God, the the city won't let us do this, or oh my God, we don't have the manpower to do that, or oh my God, this venue won't let us do that. Well, guess what? That venue doesn't actually even exist anymore. Like, it's literally not a space. Like, so if we have access to everything and everybody, and everybody's a captive audience, like when we're finally able to get to like 50% and we can fill venues halfway and you won't breathe on somebody and kill them, which, you know, is a thing. Crazy, right? You can breathe on somebody and kill them.
It's nuts.
What?
Yeah.
It's like, what? No, like, but it's what we are. It's where we are. So anyway, so it's like, okay, so we get to that point. What do we do? Because we could do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, no dream is too small. No dream is too big. It's all about finding the one that's just right. Because if you dream too big, you can't fill 1,000-person space with full of people. But if you dream too small, you're possibly missing out on a great opportunity to do something dynamic and different that inspires a new generation of people. Because we don't know where to go, what to do. So it's like, okay, we can do whatever we want. Cool. What does that look like? Ideas. And then we had an hour-long conversation with like 5 ideas. So I'm really happy with that.
That's awesome.
But that's something awesome for you, Emma, as well. I tell all my creative friends. I was talking to April and Vista. I did a piece with them for Washington Informer. And I said to them, I'm like, what do you guys want to do? And what's the most dynamic thing you can do to change your lives and the lives of other people around you? Because really, you can do it now. There's nothing that says you can't do it. Like literally nothing. There's not a rule in the book because all the rules don't matter anymore. Sure. It says, oh, you can't do that. Like we shut down the entire street on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like 18th Street just disappeared off the map.
It's amazing. I've never been one to like, you know, look at the rule book and go by the normal way of doing things.
Oh, I know. That's how we get along.
So this is, you know, I think you're right. This is the time now more than ever that we plant the seeds and we plant that garden, turn that bullshit into fertilize the fuck out of that garden and create magic.
Yes.
We are out of time, unfortunately.
Of course,
you are incredible.
You're incredible.
I just you make my heart happy. You make my soul happy. You make the world happy.
Same to you.
It's such an honor to know you. Thank you, my friend. For everybody that wants to find out who you are and what you're about,
all the socials
they can go to your website.
Yeah, all the socials are the same. At Marcus with a C-K Dowling, Dowling. Like literally all socials. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are the best. So just find me, follow me, yell at me, talk to me, whatever. I respond. I'm like hyper responsive. So I have something to say to everybody. Because, you know, like everybody's got something to say. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. You know, this was an amazing talk with Marcus Dowling. If you want to follow him, please do. If you don't want to follow him, please do. He's incredible. Make sure you go into the world with love in your heart. Spread love like it's going out of fashion. Be your own kind of superhero. And please, for the sake of music, go, and doing whatever the fuck you want, make sure one of those things is to call your mom.